Hey folks, how are we going? Hope all is well. Got another little mat class planned for you today. If you haven't rolled yourself out first, and just feel free to stop the video and jump back in a minute. I've rolled myself out, so we're going to jump into it fairly quickly. Couple of things to remember: just be mindful of the space that you're in. So watch the things that are around you. Make sure that you're not going to run into anything. If anything doesn't feel right for your body today, just leave it out. It's a very short period before we click on to the next exercise. So just listen to your body. It always sends you messages for a reason. I'm going to have you up on your foam roller for a little bit today. If you don't have a foam roller, it doesn't matter. You're just going to do the same exercises down on the mat. Or if you prefer not to use your foam roller, then that's also fine. You're just going to do the same exercise down on the mat. There's not very many of them, but we will have you up on your roller for a little bit more this morning. Okay, so we're going to lie you down. We're going to have your tailbone and your hips on one end and your head on the other end. So like I said, if you want to roll yourself out more, just roll yourself out more. Otherwise, come with me. So as you're going down, just think about your alignment. So perhaps even just have a little look to make sure that your feet are nice and straight. Have them straight and in line with each other. Use your hands to guide you down if you want. So you'll walk backwards down onto your roller. And then once you're down on the roller, you're going to think about your head, neck and shoulder alignment as well. So in a perfect world, you've got a nice little gap between your chin and your chest. So we don't want your chin tucked too far into your chest. So nice little gap through there. That alignment of your feet should bring alignment to your knees. So you should have your second toes, your knees and your hip bones all in alignment with each other. We're going to hang in goalpost position for a little bit. So if you've already been here for a bit, just enjoy it for a second longer for me. And you're just going to get the stretch through the front of your chest, so that nice stretch through the front of your pecs. And you're just going to let your arms hang, and you're going to take some nice big deep breaths. If you've been hanging from goalposts for a little bit, feel free to just change the position slightly by tucking your elbows further in towards your side, or even bringing those arms up further by your head will give you a nice different stretch. So you're just going to hang and you're going to breathe. Nice, great big stretch to the front of your chest. You're going to start to focus a little bit more on that breathing. So we're breathing big, deep breaths. We're breathing in through our nose if we can, and we're breathing out through our mouth. Nice big deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. So you're going to keep breathing like that for me. You should feel those ribs of yours moving. You'll feel them coming up towards the ceiling and out to the side. But importantly here on the roller, we're going to feel them gently pushing into the back of the foam roller. So we're going to get a three-dimensional pattern. We're moving our thoracic spine, which is our ribcage area, and we know that by just breathing, we're going to create movement. So if you feel tension in your head, neck and shoulders at times, focus on your ribcage breathing. Nice big deep breaths, and that will start to relieve just a smidge of the tension that's in your head, neck and shoulders. One more breath pattern, big deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. We're going to bring our hands forwards now. We're going to put one hand on the base of our ribs, and we're going to put the other hand on our belly, and we're going to do some diaphragmatic breathing. So we're going to breathe with your bellies. So you're going to breathe in, and as you breathe in, you're going to feel your belly lifting up underneath your hand, and then you're going to breathe out, and you feel that belly just gently dropping back down. So you breathe in, feel the belly lifting, breathe out, and feel the belly gently dropping. So you're going to keep breathing like that for me. You're still nice and stable on your foam roller. Your belly's lifting and lowering. You can feel that movement underneath your hand. Again, we note that breath is facilitating movement. So just by breathing, we're creating movement within our body. If you want to strengthen your pelvic floor, your diaphragmatic breathing is a great way to do it. Your diaphragm and your pelvic floor are connected. So when you lift and lower, and your breathing pattern, you lift and lower with your diaphragm, your pelvic floor will move at the same time. One more breath pattern for me. Big deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. We're going to do our arm arcs on our rollers today. So if you can bring your arms down by your side, and I want you to reach your fingers right down towards your toes so your arms are long. You're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, you're going to float both arms straight to the ceiling. Nice long arms for me, and then you're going to bring them back down to the floor. So you could be lying on your mat if you prefer, otherwise you're on your roller with me. Inhaling first, exhale to float those nice long arms to the ceiling, and then you're bringing them back to the floor. We're going to do two more like that. Inhaling first, exhale to float those nice long arms to the ceiling, and then bring them back to the floor. We're going to do one more. Inhale first, exhale, bring those arms to the ceiling, and then bring them back to the floor. We're going to move into a scissor pattern next. So inhale first, exhale, bring both arms to the ceiling and pause. Let one arm come further above your head, the other one's going to return to your side, and then bring them back to the ceiling and change them over. So you're going to scissor your arms forwards and backwards. You are stable on your foam roller. You're taking nice big deep breaths. Your arms are straight, so try not to let your elbows bend as you take your arms backwards. You're maintaining your rib to hip connection. So that distance between your bottom rib and your pelvic bone is not getting any bigger for me. Nice big deep breaths to match your movement. Inhaling and exhaling as you change these arms through the center. We're going to do one more in each direction. Breathing in, breathing out to change them over. Nice long arms, nice and stable on your roller. And last one, inhale, exhale. When both arms get back to the ceiling, I want you to pause and I want you to bring your arms down by your side. We're going to roll off of our roller. So just gently roll yourself to one side, grab your roller with your hand, push your roller out from underneath you and lie down on your mat and enjoy that nice flat feeling that you create when you get off of your roller. We're going to keep those knees bent. We're going to keep our feet hip width distance apart. We're going to have our arms down by our side and we're going to have our palms to the ceiling. Our shoulders are nice and broad when we turn our palms to the ceiling. We're going to try and remember that feeling as we go through the class today. Right now you've got a little arch underneath your back. I want to warm your lower spines up with some pelvic tilts. So you're going to take a breath in and as you breathe out, you're going to tip your pelvis backwards and allow your spine to flatten into the mat. And then you're going to roll your pelvis all the way forwards. You're going to let your back arch up off of the mat. And then you're going to gently roll backwards and allow your spine to flatten and open into the mat. And you're going to roll that pelvis forwards and let the back arch. So you're going to keep rolling backwards and forwards in your own time. Gentle tilt back, allow your spine to flatten. You'll feel your spine flatten into the mat. Roll the pelvis forwards. The back arches right up off of the mat. So you want to make that arch a little bit bigger. As you're doing these pelvic tilts, your knees are still. So try not to let them wobble around. We're going to do one more in each direction. Gentle tilt back, spine imprints and flattens into the mat. Roll the pelvis forwards, let the back arch, and then rest in neutral. We're going to wriggle your knees and feet together to touch. So we're going to go from pelvic tilts into bent knee fall out. So no movement through that pelvis now. You know what it feels like you were just doing it backwards and forwards. We also don't want any lateral movement, so no movements from side to side. So pelvic bones are staying still. If you can, I want you to keep your palms up down by your side. If it's bothering you at all, turn them down. Let's lead it with the left leg. So you take a breath in, you're going to breathe out to let your left leg go out towards the side without your pelvis moving in either direction. And then you're going to pull it back to the center. You're going to change sides. Let your right leg go out towards the side and then pull it back to the center. So as you alternate sides, hip bones are still. Breathe out to let the leg go out. Breathe in to bring it back in. As you alternate sides, the movement is nice and smooth and controlled. So the leg glides out and then it glides back in. Your opposite knee is nice and still. You try not to let it wobble around. We're just looking for some stability through the pelvis and some mobility through the hip joints. There's no pressure anywhere else. Our head, neck and shoulders are nice and relaxed. We're going to do one more on each side. Exhaling as your leg gently goes out towards the side, maintaining the stability in your hips, and then pull it back in. You've got one more on the other side. Breathe out as that leg goes out. Draw it back in and pause in the middle. Wriggle your feet back into hip width distance apart, so you've just slid them apart again. If your palms are still up, I want you to swivel from your wrists and turn your palms down. I want you to stand firmly in your feet, so you have even weight distribution across those feet. Big toe, little toe, right through the heel. Arms are down by your side and arms are gently engaged into the mat. You can feel how your back muscles switch on and become engaged. 10 to 15%, nothing's jammed on. Moving into a bridge. You're going to take a breath in. You're going to breathe out to tip your pelvis backwards, and then you're going to start to lift your hips and your back right up off of the mat. You're coming up to a nice long straight line. You're going to pause at the top. You're going to take a breath in, and you're going to breathe out as you slowly come down. I want you to try and get each vertebrae in your spine down onto your mat one at a time, and then let your pelvis roll through neutral. So inhale first. As you breathe out, the pelvis tilts back, the spine imprints, and then you're lifting and you're lifting and you're lifting to the base of your shoulder blades. Take a breath in there and then breathe out to come all the way down, sending your knees out to your second toes, lengthening your spine as you come all the way down. On the next one, you're going to think about those feet of yours. As you tilt your pelvis backwards and imprint, you're still standing firmly in those feet. You're coming up into that nice, long, strong bridge. You're going to pause there. You're going to take a breath in and you're going to breathe out to come all the way down. We're going to add some arms in on the next one. So the first thing we're going to do is bridge. So take a breath in, breathe out to come up into your bridge position and hold that. Float both of your arms straight to the ceiling. Have your palms facing each other. Take a breath in here and then breathe out to come down through your bridge. Keep your arms towards the ceiling. You'll come right down, your pelvis will roll through neutral, and then your arms will return down by your side. So we're going to do that again. Breathe in first. Breathe out, tip the pelvis backwards, come up into that nice, long, strong bridge position and hold there. Float both of your arms straight to the ceiling. Hold your arms here. Take a breath in and breathe out to bridge down. Come through each of those vertebrae one at a time. Pelvis rolls through neutral. Arms return down by your side. You've got 2 to go. Inhale first. Gentle tilt back. Spine imprints. Come up into your bridge position first and hold it there. Float both of your arms straight to the ceiling. Take a breath in and breathe out to come all the way down. Nice long breath as you come all the way down. Allow the pelvis to roll through neutral and then float your arms back to your side. You've got 1 to go. Inhale first, gentle tilt back, spine imprints, come up into your bridge and hold. Float both arms straight to the ceiling. Take a breath in and then breathe out. Down you come through each vertebrae one at a time. Pelvis rolls through neutral and arms float down and they return down by your side. Let's do a little hamstring stretch. So let's bring the left leg straight to the ceiling. Let's interlace the hands behind the thigh and pull the leg in towards your chest. So nice little hammy stretch. Legs straight if you can. If it bothers your needle, you're going to bend it just slightly. And gently bringing that leg in, you want to feel that stretch through the back of your thigh. Okay, we're going to change legs. So let's bring the right leg up, interlace the hands behind the right leg. Gently pull that leg in towards your chest, stretch through the back of your leg, and again hang there for a few breaths. Nice big deep breaths. Lovely, and then bring the leg back down and lower it down to your mat. Okay, we're going to do some dead bugs. We're going to put our dead bugs into leg extensions and then we're going to put our dead bugs into circles. So, arms down by your side, keeping your spine in neutral. So right now you've got that little arch in your back. You want to maintain that little arch for me. So we don't want the pelvis to tilt back as we do these. Okay, nice and relaxed through the head, neck and shoulders. Dead bugs first, left leg's going to lead. You're going to take a breath in and breathe out to float your left leg up to 90 degrees. And then you're going to lower it all the way back down. Alternating sides for me, float the right leg up and then lower it down. As you alternate sides, you're going to start to think about what muscle groups are doing the movement. Nice and relaxed through those hip flexors if you can. Try not to let them lead the movement. The front of your thighs should stay as relaxed as possible. Make sure your tummy muscles are switched on. Engage those abdominals and breathe out as you lift your leg up. Will help you switch the right muscle groups on. I'm going to do 1 more on each side. Inhale first, exhale, float the leg up to 90 degrees and then lower it all the way down. 1 more on the other side. Inhale first, exhale to lift and lower the leg down. Okay, we're going to move into extension. Float the left leg up to 90 degrees and hold it there. Without the pelvis and the hips moving, straighten the leg out to a 45-degree angle. Make it really long. Bend your knee back to tabletop and lower it back to your mat. You're going to change to the right. Float the right leg up to tabletop. Hips and pelvis is still. Extend the leg out to a 45-degree angle. Bend your knee back in and lower it all the way down. We're going to do 1 more on each side, then we're going to circles. Float the leg up for me. Stretch out to that 45-degree angle. Bend your knee back in and return your leg to the ground. You've got 1 more on the other side. Inhale first, exhale. Stretch the leg out long. Bend it back in and lower it all the way down. Okay, back to the left leg. Bring it up to 90 degrees. Extend to 45 and hold here. Point your toes and draw me some nice round circles. They don't need to be big. I'd like them to be round. Your right leg is still. Try not to let it move. Breathing. Nice big deep breaths. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Reverse the direction. Go the other way. Keep the length through the front of your hip. Keep your toes pointed away from you. Nice long breaths to match your movement. You've got 2 circles to go. You're going to bend your knee and place your foot back to the ground. Changing to the right, float it up to 90 degrees, stretch it out to 45, long leg, point the toes and circles, away you go. Nice and round, the left leg's not moving, keep it nice and stable for me. Foot's firmly on the mat with that left leg. Nice round circles, change the direction, keep the length in the front of that leg, pointing your toes away from you. Keep your breathing going, inhaling and exhaling. We're going to do 2 more circles. We're going to bend our knee and return our foot down to the ground. We're going to drop our legs both to the left hand side. Just let them drop over and you're going to take your gaze over your right shoulder and you're just going to rotate out through your hips and let your back stretch here for a minute. Got a couple of nice big deep breaths while you're there. Remember that breath facilitates movement. The tummy muscles are switched on. Pull your legs through the center of your mat. Drop them to your right hand side and take your gaze over your left shoulder. And again, just hang there for a moment and let all those hips stretch out. Big deep breaths. Lovely. Pull your legs back into the middle and you're going to pause. So we're going to go through 2 exercises, one after the other. We're going to do single leg stretch and single straight leg stretch. If you want to have a rest, you're going to have a rest. The lower your legs in these exercises, the more challenging the exercise will be. You can choose your level. Key thing is to make sure that your spine stays imprinted. So you've got to keep your spine imprinted when you get up there. If you're feeling that changing, you're either going to just rest for a second and reset yourself, or you're going to bring your legs up that little bit higher so there's not so much tension. Arms down by your side, shoulders are nice and relaxed. We're going to take a breath in and breathe out to bring one leg up to 90 degrees. Then we're going to inhale and exhale to bring our second leg up to join it. We're going to place our hands on top of our knees, and then we're going to take a breath in and breathe out to lift our head, neck and shoulders up. And we're going to look directly down to the middle of our thighs. We're going to stretch one leg out nice and long and straight, and we're going to pull the other leg in towards your chest. And then you're going to change them over. You're going to pull the other leg in, and you're going to stretch the opposite one out. You're going to be looking down between the middle of your thighs. You're breathing nice big deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling as you change. The leg that you're stretching out is really long. You're trying to point your toes and get them onto the opposite side of the room. The leg that you're pulling into your chest, you're really pulling it in, so you get that nice stretch through both legs. Your spine is imprinted. Don't forget about your spine for me. We're going to do 1 more on each side, and then we're going to go to straight legs. Okay, pause here. The leg that you're holding on to, make it straight, and slide your hands up the back of the leg as high as you can reach. So both legs are now straight. Inhale, exhale, scissor your legs over and change. So your gaze is down between your thighs. You're taking nice big deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling. You're keeping your spine imprinted. If you're feeling your back arching up off of the mat, you're going to change the range. You're not going to drop that leg quite so far. Shoulders are still nice and broad. Try not to let them curl forwards. We're going to do 1 more on each side. Last one here. Bring both legs to the ceiling. Pause, bend your knees, lower your head, neck and shoulders, then hug your knees gently into your chest. And you're going to do a little massage of your spine on the mat. A little roll around. And you're going to gently just turn your head from side to side to relieve any tension that might be in your neck. Then you're going to take your toes down to the mat. You're going to slide your legs out long and straight. You're going to stretch your arms right over the top of your head. So you put yourself in a nice long full body stretch. You're going to open up through the palms of your hands. You're pointing your toes away from you to get that nice stretch through the feet and the front of your hips. You've got 1 more breath pattern. And then you're going to float your arms to the ceiling. You're going to bring them all the way down. And you're going to rest them down by your side. We're going to roll over. We're going to roll onto our side. You've got some choices. So if you prefer, you can cradle your head in on your arm. Or you can come up on your elbow with me. Either is fine. If you've chosen to come up on your elbow, then I want to have your elbow directly underneath your shoulder. So that nice right angle. Your legs, whether you're cradling your head or you're on your elbow, are just slightly in front. So if that is directly in line, your legs are slightly in front. You're going to bring your hand and place it on your hip, and you're going to push your hip away. And you're just going to take your gaze down there and make sure that your hip hasn't dropped backwards. So you want your hip stacked, one side on top of the other. As you push your hip away, you feel that little lift through your shoulder girdle, and you're going to maintain that lift. You're going to keep that lifted. Your hand can stay on your hip or it can come on the mat in front. Either is fine. You're going to flex both feet. So both toes are pulled towards your nose. You're going to lift your top leg up off of your bottom leg, and then you're going to lower it down. As you lift your top leg, you're inhaling, and as you lower it, you're exhaling. And as you lift and lower that leg, the leg is really long. It's like you're trying to scrape your heel up the wall on the opposite side of your room. And your breath is matching your movement. Inhaling as you lift, and exhale as you lower. Not too high that you feel your hips tipping backwards and that waistline dropping down into the mat. Nice long breaths. We're going to do one more. Gentle lift and lower. Okay, we're going to go forwards and backwards in a second. You're going to keep your body nice and still and just move your leg. If you lift your leg up for me with your flexed foot, kick forwards, point your toe and send that leg backwards as far as you can without your hip moving. Flex your foot as you come forwards on your inhale breath, point your toe as you go backwards on your exhale breath. Legs long, foot flexes forwards, toes point on the way back. Breath matches movement. Inhaling forwards, exhaling backwards. Still maintain that lift through your waistline. Shoulder girdle is nice and switched on, and your hips are nice and still. We're going to do one more each way. Glide the leg forwards, glide it backwards. When you get to the center, lower the leg down and rest. We're going to flip you to your other side. Again, you can choose. You could come down and cradle your head in on your arm, or you're going to prop yourself up on your elbow with me. If you popped up on your elbow, you're just going to take your gaze down and double check that your elbow and your shoulder are in line with each other. Not too far away with the elbow, not too close. Legs slightly in front for me and feet are flexed, so toes pulled towards your nose. Check the hip is stacked. It hasn't dropped backwards behind you. Hip is nice and stacked. Hand comes on your knee. You're going to push your hip away, and then you're going to bring your hand on the floor in front of you, or you can leave it on your hip. Gaze is also important. You want to have your gaze directly across the room in front of you to keep your head in line with your spine. You're going to gently lift your top leg up off of your bottom leg, and then you're going to lower it down. As you lift your leg, you're inhaling, and as you lower it, you're exhaling. And the lift of the leg is not too high that you feel the position of your hips and your shoulder girdle or your waistline changing. So just work to hip height if you like, and let your breath help you to do that movement. Inhaling as you gently lift, and exhaling as you lower. We're going to do 3 more. Float the leg up and lower it down. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower, and last one. Now we're going to go forwards and backwards. Feel very free to rest for a microsecond. Otherwise, lift the leg with your flexed foot, kick forwards, point your toe to take that leg backwards. Inhale as you glide forwards, exhale as you go back. Long leg, let it flow. Try to scrape your heel on the opposite side of the room and pulling your toes backwards. Nice long breaths, keeping the body nice and still. The hips are still, the shoulder girdle is nice and stable. You've got 2 to go. Glide the leg forwards, take it backwards for me. And then last one, when you get to the center, lower the leg down and let it rest. Gently flip yourself straight down onto your stomach for me. We're going to come into goalpost. So hands are going to be a bit wider than your mat. Your wrists, your forearms and your elbows are on the floor. Head is resting on your mat. Resting or hovering. It could hover, that's okay, or it's resting. Legs. I want you to slide your legs together so you've got a bit of an inner thigh engagement. They're going to move a bit as we go along. Let's start with them together. Core switched on. So you feel that your belly button is just gently lifting up off of the mat, or trying to lift off of the mat. Shoulders are down and they're away from your ears. There is no pressure in your arms. You're going to use your back muscles for this exercise. You're going to take a breath in and breathe out to lift your face and lift your chest just gently up off of the mat for me. and then lower yourself all the way down. So we're just warming your spine up in this manner. Inhale first, exhale, lift the face, lift the chest, just gently up off of the mat for me, and then lower yourself all the way down. Arms are nice and relaxed. We're not putting too much pressure into those forearms. We're just lifting to the base of the ribs, that's the highest point, and we're lowering all the way down. Nice long necks for me, so think a length from the crown of your head right down to your toes. You're going to do one more. Inhale first, exhale, gentle lift to the bottom of that rib cage for me, and then lower all the way down. Pause here. Take your arms, slide them down by your side, and turn your palms to the ceiling. So we've warmed your spine up in that manner. Now we're going to take you into some darts. We're going to just change the position of your feet. So if you can tuck your big toes together and let your ankles sort of flop out towards the side, for want of a better word. That's going to completely relax your glutes and allow and help you to keep your feet on the mat. Long arms, so those shoulders are drawn away from your ears. You're going to take a breath and you're going to breathe out to lift your face, lift your chest, and you're going to lift your arms up off of the mat as well, and then you're lowering yourself all the way down. Neck is nice and long. Inhale first, exhale up you come, reach through those fingertips right down towards your toes, and then lower yourself all the way down. As you come up, you've got length in the crown of your head. Inhale first, exhale up you come, big, nice, long, strong human dart for me, and lower yourself all the way down. We're going to do 3 more. Inhale first, exhale up you come, lengthen through that spine, and then lower yourself all the way down. Those feet of yours are nice and relaxed on the mat. Inhale first, exhale up you come, and lower all the way down. You've got 1 to go. Breathing in first, breathe out to come up, nice long strong human dart, and lower all the way down. Let's go into little child's pose stretch. So you're going to take your hips back towards your heels. You're going to have your arms in front of you if you can. If your arms in front of you bothers you, you're going to put them down by your side. You've got a little gap between your knees if you like to help you sink your hips back towards your heels, and you're breathing. So nice big deep breaths. As you're breathing those nice big deep breaths, you're thinking of breathing into the back of the rib cage, so posteriorly into our lungs. We're going to do 2 more breaths. Big deep breath in, exhale to let all that air out. 1 more breath pattern, and out. We're going to bring you back forwards, down on your stomachs, and we're going to go into some swimming legs only. So you're going to bring your hands forwards, and I want you to put one hand on the top of the other, like a little Princess Mary pose, but just resting one hand on the other and your head down on your hands. So even though your head is down on your hands, your shoulders are still drawn away from your ears. Tummy muscles are switched on, so you've again got that feeling of your belly button lifting up off of the mat. Just lie here for a moment and think about what happens with your hip bones. Your hip bones are touching the mat, so your pelvis is touching the mat. You want to keep it that way. We're going to start with the left leg. You're going to take a breath in and breathe out to lift the left leg up. Make it as long as you possibly can, and then lower it down. Change to the right leg. Lift the right leg up. Make it as long as you possibly can, and then lower it down. So you're going to alternate sides in your own time. As you lift your leg up, your hip bones stay connected to the mat. So you're not lifting too high that you feel that your hip bones want to leave the mat. If you are focusing on length as opposed to height, you should be able to keep your hip bones connected to the mat. And in a perfect world, you would feel the sequencing into your legs of the 3 muscle groups connecting, which would be your calf, your hamstring, and eventually your glute when you lift that leg up. Calf, hamstring, and glute. Let's do 1 more on each side. Float the leg up, make it really long for me, and then lower all the way down. You've got 1 to go. Inhale first, exhale up you come, and lower it all the way down. We're going to do 4 with both legs at the same time. If it bothers you, you're going back to single legs. Okay, shoulders are nice and relaxed. Take a breath in, breathe out to lift both legs up, make them really long, and then lower them all the way down. Tummy muscles are switched on. Inhale first, exhale up you come, lengthen out through those toes, and then lower yourself all the way down. You've got 2 to go. So you're lifting as high as you can with length without letting your hip bones lift the mat. And 1 more. Inhale first, exhale up you come, and then lower them all the way down. I'm going to wriggle you up onto your elbows and you're going to prop one hand up on top of the other. So now you're in your Princess Mary pose. Going to do a little lift through the hips. So as opposed to slouched and hanging out watching telly, your tummy muscles are switched on, you've got that little lift through your hips. Gaze should be out in front of your hands so your head is in line with your spine. Let's go left leg first. Bend your knee, bring your foot to your bottom, pulse your foot twice, lengthen your leg out long and lower. Change sides, foot to bottom, pulse twice, lengthen leg long and lower. So alternate sides in your own time. Gaze is still out in front of those hands, body still. So as you bring your foot to your bottom and you pulse your leg, you try not to let your body bounce. Your breath matches your movement. Exhaling to pulse the foot to the bottom, inhale to lengthen and lower down. Okay, we've got one more on each side. Foot comes to bottom, pulse twice, lengthen long and lower. Last one, and then pause. Left hand, reach back, grab the left foot. Right, come down onto your stomach and swivel your forearm around and rest your head on your arm. Gently pull the sole of your foot to your hips and gently lift your knee and stretch through your hip flexors, your quad and your psoas. If it bothers your knee, just let go and leave this bit out. Otherwise, that nice stretch to the front of your hips, it should feel good. And then let go of the leg and lower it all the way down. Now you could come back up onto your forearms, or if you've got the ability to reach back, still lying down on the mat, feel free to do so. Otherwise, onto your forearms again. Wriggle that arm down, rest your head on your hand and gently pull. Gently pulling the sole of your foot to your hips to get that nice stretch through your quads. You don't want to hurt yourself here, but you do want to make it effective. Couple of breaths, breathing in, breathing out, try and lift the knee up. And gently lower the leg all the way down. We're going to come up into quadruped. So you're going to wriggle up into your hands and knees for me. I'm going to grab a sip of water on the way through as we get into that position. So hands and knees. Quadruped, we want that nice alignment. Hands are underneath our shoulders, knees are underneath our hips. So there's a gap between my knees. So I've got a decent base of support. If my knees are too close together, I decrease that base of support. Shoulders are broad and wide, so nice straight back for me. You're going to imagine that I've put a foam roller on your back. It touches your head, it touches the middle of your shoulder blades, and it touches your hips, your tailbone. So that's the straightness of your back we want through quadruped, and we want you to keep it that way. Your hands are underneath your shoulders and your weight bearing through your little fingers. So you're physically able to lift your thumbs up off of the mat. Gaze is out in front of you, so your head is in line with your spine. We're going to move arms first. Take a breath in, breathe out, slide your arm out nice and long, lift it up out in front of you, and then bring it down with control. We're going to alternate sides. Slide your arm out, lift, and then bring it down. As you alternate sides, exhaling as the arm goes out and lifts, and then inhaling to bring it back down. That gets you ready for the next exhale breath on the opposite arm. As you're taking your arms in and out, keep the weight bearing through the little fingers, and as much as possible, maintain those elbow eyes facing in. Nice long breaths to match your movement. Okay, let's keep our hands on the mat. Let's start to work with our legs. So now still nice and broad through those shoulders. You're going to slide one set of toes along the mat. You're going to lift that leg up just to hip height. Remember the foam roller that's imagining up there? And then bring the leg all the way back down. You can put a foam roller up there if you like. Change sides. Slide your toes out. Lift your legs up long. Keep the hips square to the ground. Put the toes back to the mat and slide them underneath. Keep that gap between your knees. As you're going out, maintain that weight bearing through those little fingers. Your gaze should be down in front of your hands. So that puts your head in line with your spine and your breath is matching movement. Okay, let's go into opposite arm and leg. Take your time. Take a breath in. Breathe out, slide opposite arm and leg out. Bring them out nice and long. Return your fingers and your toes to the mat and bring them back underneath. Change sides. Toes and fingertips slide out, lift up, toes and fingertips return to the mat and come underneath. So alternate sides in your own time. If you prefer to go back to singles, feel free to go back to singles. Keep the weight bearing through your little fingers as you return your hands onto the mat. Keep your breath pattern matching your movement. You've got one more on each side for me. Slide opposite arm and leg out nice and long. Lift them up with control. Bring them back to the mat and down. Last one for me. Inhale first. Exhale out you go. And bring them down. Okay, pause here. We're going to have a crack at same side. If you're not up for that today, go back to singles. That's perfectly fine. So what you're going to do is transfer your weight into one side. I'm going to go to my right side first. Then I'm going to gently lift my left hand and leg up. I'm going to stretch them out long. I'm going to try and balance on my right hand side. And then I'm going to bring them back down to the mat. You're going to change side. Transfer the weight into the left or the right, whichever side you went to first. And then stretch the opposite arm and leg out nice and long. Take your time. And then bring them down. If you prefer to go back to opposites, that's okay. Otherwise, come with me and change. Back to the first side. Opposite arm and leg go out. Take your time. Try not to sickle the foot at the back. And then bring the leg all the way down. We're going to do one more. Inhale first. Exhale out you go nice and long. And bring them down. If you're like me, you would have found one side is stronger than the other. Cat stretches. Let's just relax and go into some cat stretches. So drop your head down between your arms and arch your back right up towards the ceiling and stretch your back out. Now bring your stomach down towards the mat and take your gaze out across your room and take your spine the other way. Let's repeat that. Let your head drop down between your arms, arch your back right up towards the ceiling and open up through that spine for me. And go again, tummy comes down, gaze goes out across the room. Okay, we've got one more in each direction. Inhale first, exhale, head drops down, back arches up, open up through that spine just like a cat would, and then allow your tummy to come down and your gaze to go out in front of you, and then rest in neutral. I'm going to go into a glute stretch. You might want to wriggle forwards on your mat so you've got room behind you. Still in your quadruped position. Let's take both of your feet to the left hand side of your mat. I want you to pick up your left foot and put it in the middle of the mat. Then I want you to slide your left foot down the mat. You're going to come down onto your forearms and then you're going to wriggle that foot back a little bit further. You're going to keep your left leg in line. So I don't want your left leg to have swung out to the side and off of your mat. Try and keep it in line with your hip bones. Just relax into it. Let your head rest on your mat if you like. Breathe into that hip for me. So some nice big deep breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. And just sink into it. Let the hip open up. One more breath pattern. Big deep breath in and out. We're going to pull you up back on all fours nice and slowly. Come back up to your quadruped position. Put yourself there first. And then both legs are going to go to the right. You're going to leave your left foot where it is. You're going to pick your right foot up and put it in the middle of the mat. You're going to slide that foot down the mat. You're going to come onto your forearms. And you're going to just relax into it. And breathe. Think of breathing into the back of your rib cage. Sink into that left hip now. Let it stretch out. Hopefully your right leg isn't still in line. It hasn't wriggled off out to the side there. Nice big deep breaths. One more breath pattern. And then you're going to relax. You're going to swing yourself around to a sitting position. And we're going to do mermaids next. So I'm going to put you in a Z sit. I'm going to have my right leg in front and my left leg tucked behind. So if you sit like that, it's probably the easiest because then if I cube it left and right, it will make sense. If it pinches in your hips, you're going to stretch one leg out or both legs out. Either or is fine. Otherwise, you're sitting in your nice little Z sit. You're sitting up tall and you're looking across the room in front of you. So you've made a nice space between your ribs and your pelvis. So as opposed to sort of slouched, we've sat up nice and tall. We've created that space between our ribs and our hips. We're looking across the room. We've got a spot for our eyes across the room. We're going to take both arms out towards the side. Our right arm, our palm is down. Our left arm, our palm is up. You're going to reach over and let your right hand find the mat. You're going to soften your right elbow. You're going to reach your arm right across the top of your head, and you're still looking across the room at that spot. Then you're going to bring your arms through the center. You're going to swivel those palms over. Your left palm is now down, and you're just going to reach and get that nice stretch through your right hand side. So you inhale first, sit tall as you go through the center. Try and keep that length through your spine. Reach and reach and reach and reach and reach. Then you're going to come back through the middle, and you're going to go over to the other side. Your hip bones stay connected to the mat. So inhale first, exhale, over you go. Hand finds the mat, the elbow softens, and you're adding that nice big length all the way through your side. You're going to come back through the center and over to the other side. We're going to do one more each way. Each time you're coming through the center, you are swiveling those palms. Inhale, exhale, over you go. Right hand down, elbow softens, reach the left hand over the top of your head, and you've got one more to the other side. When you get back into the middle, you're going to pause and lower your arms down. Without letting your hands touch the mat, if you can, you're going to swivel your legs to the opposite side. If you prefer to touch the mat, of course, feel free to do so. This exit position, still sitting up nice and tall. We've got that nice little gap between our ribs and our hips. This time we're starting with our left palm down and our right palm up. We've got that space between our ribs and our hips. We're looking across our room. We're going to take a breath in and breathe out to let our hand come down to the mat. The elbow is going to soften, and we're reaching right across the top and stretching through our side. As we return through the center, we're sitting tall. Other hand comes down and reach and reach and reach. Inhale first. Exhale, over you go. Left hand comes down, the elbow softens. You're reaching your right hand right across the top. Then you're returning through the center, sitting tall, nice long arms, swiveling those palms and changing to the other side. If your hips are bothering you, you're going to stretch one leg out nice and long. We're going to do two more each way. Inhale first, exhale, over you go. Reach, 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 reach. Get that length through your side, come through the center and over to the other side. Hips stay connected to the mat. We've got one more each way. Inhale first, exhale, over you go. Hand softens. Reach your arm right across the top. You've got one more to the other side. Over you go. Hand comes down, elbow softens, and reach and reach and reach. When you're back in the middle, lower your arms down and give your shoulders a little bit of a roll. Roll them one way and roll them the other way. We're going to move into spine stretch. So you're going to stretch your legs out long and straight. You're going to have your legs hip width distance apart. You could be sitting on a yoga block or a towel if something grabs in the front of your hips and they feel a bit too grippy. So just elevate your hips a little bit if that is the case. Sitting tall, hands come down by your side with your palms facing to the ceiling. Go back to the stretch in your spine or the curve in your spine when you did your cat stretches. That's kind of what we're looking for here. So you're sitting tall. You're going to take a breath in, you're going to tuck your chin into your chest, you're going to round your spine backwards, and you're going to breathe out as you curl forwards. As you come forwards, your chin comes towards your knees. And then slide your hands back and sit up nice and tall, nice relaxed shoulders for me. So you're going to go again, breath in, gentle tuck of the chin to the chest, round the spine backwards, breathe out as you curl forwards, keeping your sit bones touching the mat, so not too far that you feel your butt lifting. Slide your hands back, sit up nice and tall, shoulders are relaxed and they're away from your ears. We're going to go again. Inhale first, tuck of the chin to the chest, round through that spine. Exhale as you curl yourself forwards and then come all the way up. We're going to do one more, and the last one we're going to hang out down there. So breath in, tuck of the chin to the chest, round the spine backwards, breathe out as you curl forwards, and then reach down and hold on to perhaps your calves, maybe it's your ankles today, or maybe it's even the bottom of your feet to get yourself a nice stretch, and just hang there, let yourself lengthen out to enjoy that nice stretch through your body. You've got a couple of breaths here, and then you're going to let go and slowly come back up to the top. Okay, we're going to go into twist. Arms out towards the side, nice long arms. I want you to have your arms to the side today. If it bothers you, of course, feel free to put them across your shoulders. We're going to move to the left first. We're going to flex our feet, toes are pulled towards our nose. We're We're going to take a breath in. We're going to breathe out as we twist ourselves around towards the left. We're going to return our through to the center, and we're going to twist around towards the right. So you're going to alternate sides in your own time. As you twist, you've got an exhale breath. Arms are nice and long. Then you come through the center and you twist to the other side. As you're doing your twists, your feet are still. Try not to let them move. If your feet are moving like a clutch and accelerator movement, then your pelvis is moving. We want your pelvis to stay nice and still. Arms are long. Keep them out nice and long and straight so your hands stay in line with your shoulders. We're going to do one more. We're going to finish on the right hand side. When you get to the middle, lower your arms down and just give your shoulders a little roll. Roll one way, then roll the other way. Okay, we're going to move into saw. So, legs, take them wider, a bit wider than the mat. Saw is a combination of spine stretch and twist. So we're going to twist, we'll curve forwards, and we'll saw twice. You want to get that nice scoop of your belly so your abdominals are switched on. When you curl forwards for your saw, you want to keep your hip bones touching the mat. So you don't want to come too far forwards that they start to lift. Let's flex our feet. Sit tall, arms straight out towards the side. I'm going to go to the left first. Take a breath in, breathe out, twist towards the left. Take your right hand to your little toe, scoop your tummy muscles and curl forwards and saw your little toe off twice with your finger. Now sit back up, go back through a twist and over to the other side. Your left little finger comes towards your right toe, you're curling forwards and you're sawing twice. Come back up and return through the center. So go again, twist yourself around, little finger comes forwards, look towards the back hand, saw off the toe twice, stack yourself back up, return through the center and over to the other side. Legs are still, try not to let them move. Hip bones staying on the mat, 2 more each way. Inhale first, exhale, twist yourself around, curl forward, scoot the belly, little finger to little toe, curl forward, saw twice, stack back up, return through the center, over to the other side, twist yourself around, curl forward, saw twice. Okay, we've got 1 more each way. Obviously you can rest if you want to rest. Twist yourself around, curl forward, saw 1, 2, stack back up through the center, last one to the other side, curl forwards, saw 1, 2, back into the middle and lower your arms down and rest. I'm just going to grab another sip of water, team. You're going to rest for a second. Okay, let's do some rolling like a ball. Rolling like a ball, you have some choices. You can just balance. If balance is enough for you today in your body, then you can just balance. When you do your roll like a ball, your balance version is just sitting on your hip bones, looking down towards your pelvis and still scooping your belly and balancing here. Hand positions, some to choose from. Hands can tuck underneath your knees. If you choose to tuck them underneath your knees, just be careful that you don't use too much momentum, because you can get quite a bit of momentum with your hands under your knees. Otherwise, your hands can be in front of your shins, but watch there that your shoulders don't creep up by your ears. Your hands could also be on the front of your feet, depending on your mobility. So you could be holding on right to the front of your feet. I'm going to hold on to my shins. So pick your position. Find your balance in your sit bones. Now, before you go off and do your roll like a ball, just look back. Check that there's nothing behind you that you're going to roll into. Then, scoot your belly. So you've pulled your tummy back towards your spine. Drop your shoulders if they're up by your ears. Gaze, you're looking towards your pelvis. So you've put yourself in a little ball position. Now, your first roll like a ball never counts. It's only the second onwards. Breathing. Breathing is important. You're going to inhale to roll back and exhale to roll back up. So when you're ready in your own time, inhale, roll back, exhale, roll back up, and balance at the top. Keep your shoulders relaxed, inhaling back, exhale, back up to the top. So you're going to roll in your own time, keeping yourself in the middle of the mat if you can, shoulders staying nice and relaxed, inhale to roll back, exhale to roll back up. Try not to use too much momentum. You're not going onto your head and neck, you're just going to the back of your shoulders. You're going to do 3 more, inhaling back, exhale up, balance at the top. If you've had enough and you want to rest, feel free to rest. Otherwise, you've got 1 more with me. Inhale back, exhale up, pause at the top, and lower your legs down and rest. Going to move into half roll downs. So legs are going to be bent, legs are touching. Legs are about 60 centimetres away from you. Hands are on the outside of your knees and you are sitting tall. Legs are going to be still. Try not to let them slide. Gently bring your chin to your chest. Look towards your thighs and roll back. Part way. Hands slide down your legs. Pause there. Take a breath in and breathe out to come all the way back up and sit up nice and tall. Little engagement of your thighs. Squeeze them together slightly. Inhale first, tuck the chin to the chest, keep the engagement of the thighs. Roll down for me, pause, take a breath in, and then roll back up. Now if that's a bit too challenging for you today, feel free to go back to roll like a balls or just balancing. We're going to do 2 more. Gentle roll back, gaze down to those thighs, pause there, breathe in, and breathe out to come all the way up. 1 to go. Inhale first, chin to chest, down you go. Pause there, and then slowly come all the way back up. We're going to do 3 more. We're going into full roll up and down if you like. If you don't like, feel free to keep your knees bent and do part roll up and down, roll like a balls, or just balance. Otherwise, you've got 3 with me. Arms out nice and long. The breath is important here. Inhale first, tuck the chin to the chest, take the spine down onto the mat. Nice long breath as you go all the way down. Your arms are going right over the top of your head. You're going to come up with 2 breaths. Breathe in first. Breathe out to bring your arms to the ceiling. Inhale again. As you exhale, chin comes to chest. Breathe out for me. Come and sit up nice and tall, shoulders relaxed. Inhale first. Tuck the chin to the chest. Down you go. Long breath all the way down. Let those arms go right over the top of your head. 2 breaths to come up. Inhale first. Exhale to float those arms to the ceiling. Breathe in again. Breathe out to roll yourself up. Breathe through all the bits, otherwise you get stuck. And last one, chin to chest, down you go. Arms going right over the top of your head for me, folks. And last one to come up, 2 breaths. Inhale first, exhale, arms come to the ceiling. Breathe in again, breathe out. Roll up, go right over. Bring your chin to your knees, stretch yourself forwards, hold onto your calves, your ankles, maybe it's the bottom of your feet. And hang there for a second. And then come up to sitting. You've got 1 more full roll down, and this time we're staying down there. So if you were just doing halves before, do a full roll down, take your arms right over the top of your head, circle your arms around and bring them down by your side. We're going to do some book openings. So roll onto your side for me. You're going to cradle your head in on your arm. So bent arm, head sort of resting on the bicep. Could be straight arm if that's better, otherwise bent arm, head's resting on the bicep. Knees are bent, feet are tucked back in line with your hips, so you don't want to have your knees too far forwards. Your top hand is on the floor in front of you and your hand's in line with your shoulders, so not too high and not too low. Knees are squeezed together. You're going to keep your knees nice and still and your hips still. Going to take a breath in. You're going to breathe out to bring your arm just to the ceiling for the first couple. Gaze follows the hand. And then bring the hand back down to the floor. So you're going to go again. Inhale first. Exhale. Arm comes to the ceiling. Gaze follows the hand. And then bring it back to the floor. Okay. Rotations next. Inhale first. Exhale. Arm goes to the ceiling. And then rotate further back. Now remember your knees and your hips are still. You're going to lengthen your long arm to the ceiling and bring it all the way back to the floor. Okay, we're going to go again. Inhale first, exhale, arm goes to the ceiling. Move into your rotation, keep your knees and hips nice and still. Lengthen your long arm to the ceiling and bring it back to the floor. Okay, we've got 1 to go. We're going to hang out there. Inhale first, exhale, arm goes to the ceiling. Move into your rotation. So go as far as you can without your knees moving. Make a note of that and then gently drop the knees back a bit further, and that's when your arm can come further to the ground. Your knees maybe have come apart and you're just going to hang here and stretch. Nice big deep breaths. So we'll all open up. Okay, coming back. Switch tummy muscles back on. Squeeze your knees back together. Lengthen that long arm of yours to the ceiling and bring it all the way back to the floor. We're going to change sides. I'm going to flip myself to the opposite end of the mat. You could just roll over. Same position, so knees are bent, Feet are tucked back roughly in line with those hips. Head's resting in on your arm. That arm could be straight or bent. If you wanted a pillow, you could have a pillow underneath your head. And if you had a pillow, you'd bring both arms forwards, whatever's good for you. Hands in line with shoulders, knees squeezed together, keeping them that way. Take a breath in and breathe out to bring your arm to the ceiling. Let your gaze follow your hand. And then bring your hand back down to the floor. Okay. Inhale first. Exhale, arm comes to the ceiling. Gaze follows the hand for me. And then bring the hand back down to the floor. Okay, we're going into rotation. Inhale first. Exhale, arm comes to the ceiling. Knees are still, hips are still. Arm goes further back. Gaze is following it. Lengthen the arm to the ceiling and bring it all the way back to the floor. Let your breath help you. Inhale first. Exhale, arm goes to the ceiling. Move into your rotation. Remember those hips of yours are nice and still. They're not moving. Lengthen the arm to the ceiling and bring it all the way back to the floor. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. Inhale first. Exhale, arm goes to the ceiling. Move into your rotation. Nice long arm, knees are still touching each other. Lengthen your arm to the ceiling and bring it back to the floor. Okay, last one, we're going to hang out there. Inhale first. Exhale, arm goes to the ceiling. Move into your rotation. So go as far as you possibly can before those knees move, and then drop those knees back and see if you can get your arm a little bit further to the ground. And you're just going to hang there and stretch. Nice big deep breath. Let the hips open up. Okay, 1 more breath. Okay, gently engage some muscles. Squeeze knees together. Lengthen your arm back to the ceiling and bring it all the way back to the floor. Lovely. You're going to roll directly onto your back for me. So just flip yourself onto your back. Okay. Let's slide the left leg out long and straight and bring the right leg up to tabletop. Let's put the right hand out on the floor next to us. Let's put our left hand on the outside of our right knee and pull the knee across the body. You're going to keep your shoulders on the floor and you're going to gently engage your hand into your knee to intensify that stretch. You've got a couple of breaths. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay. Slide the right leg out long and straight along the mat. Bring the left leg up to tabletop. Tuck the right hand on the outside of the left knee and now pull that leg across your body. You're going to go into that nice rotational stretch. Your left hand is on the floor next to you. A couple of nice big deep breaths. Enjoy that hip stretch. 1 more breath. Then bring your leg back to tabletop and hold it there. Take a breath in, breathe out, bring your right leg up to tabletop. Hold it there. Hands, come and tuck them under your knees. So here your legs should be, your arms should be straight. Your spine should be neutral. You should have that little arch underneath your back. We're going to do one assisted roll up. If you prefer to come up in another manner, then just feel free to do so. Otherwise, take a breath in. As you breathe out, chin comes to chest, push your feet away from you, and roll yourself up and just sit. You're going to sit for a minute. Sometimes you can feel a little bit lightheaded or dizzy. We're just going to make sure that you're not feeling that way. If you're feeling lightheaded or dizzy, you're going to stay where you are. Otherwise, you're going to come with me. We're going to come up to standing. So wriggle yourself up to standing and come to standing, feet nice and straight, hip width distance apart, standing nice and tall. Even weight distribution across those feet. Arms are down by your side, standing up, looking across the room. First thing you're going to imagine is that you're standing against a wall. You're standing against a wall and you're going to peel your spine up off of that wall. So you're going to take a breath in, you're going to tuck your chin to your chest and you are going to roll yourself forwards. As you roll forwards, your arms are hanging off of you like they belong to a rag doll. You're going to pause. You're going to take a breath in. You're going to lead with your tailbone. You're going to roll yourself back up and you're going to come and stand up nice and tall and your shoulders are nice and relaxed and they're well away from your ears. Take a breath in. Gently tuck your chin to your chest and roll down for me. 1 long breath out as you go all the way down. Just let your arms hang. When you get to the bottom, you'll breathe in. You'll lead with your tailbone. You'll tuck your tailbone under and you'll roll yourself back up When you get to the top of this one, you're just going to double check that you're not feeling dizzy or lightheaded. And if you're feeling okay, you're going to go again. Breath in, tuck the chin to the chest, down you go. Long breath all the way out, breathe out all the way down. Those arms of yours are hanging like they belong to a rag doll. When you get to the bottom, pause, take a breath in, leading with the tailbone. Roll yourself back up and stand nice and tall. We're going to do one more. If you're feeling lightheaded or dizzy, just stay standing up for me. Otherwise, breath in, gentle tuck of the chin to the chest, and down you go. Let all the air out of your lungs, make room for clean air for me. Then pause, breathe in, lead with the tailbone, tuck, and roll back up to the top. When you get to the top, just pause. Stay standing upright. Gently lift your heels up off of the ground for me and slowly lower them down. Gently lift your heels and slowly lower. Okay, you've got 2 to go. Gentle lift of the heels, slowly lower. And one more, gentle lift of the heels and slowly lower. Okay, we're going to go into a stretch. So you're going to come up onto your tippy toes, arms will float out towards the side, arms are going to come right up towards the ceiling. Really long arms. Lengthen through the arms, lower the heels down to the floor. Let your breath match your movement. Inhale first, exhale. Up towards the side, right up towards the ceiling. Try and touch the ceiling and then slowly down. And you've got 1 to go. Inhale first, exhale, arms to the side, take them to the ceiling, nice and controlled. Bring your arms down like you feel like you're pushing them through water so they're nice and strong. Once you're down, you're going to roll your shoulders. You're going to roll them a couple of times in each direction. And then you're going to relax your shoulders. Well done, team. You've actually got 7 days to play with these classes, so feel free to do it as many times as you like in those 7 days. You could just do it once, depends on your time. Enjoy the class. If you've got any queries or concerns, you know where to find me, and I will look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care, team. Bye now.